Baba is teaching us a very beautiful method to watch our mind and check where it is wandering. And if we do this checking all through the day, you will notice that your mind is always wandering in the thoughts of the old world. Yes, and what is the old world? It starts with this body and the relationships that we have and the events that are taking place. So our thoughts are always wandering there, and our mind is always wandering there. And then Baba tells us to talk to our mind and ask ourselves, what is it that you're seeking from the old world? Because the truth is that the old world is in a very deteriorated state. It cannot offer you anything. And everything in the old world is slowly disintegrating. And there will be a time when everything in the old world will be a thing of the past. Yes, every day we see this, that whatever is present right now is changing into it was. Yes, whatever is changing into was in a second. Yes, people say, I was healthy, I had this, or I was into this beautiful relationship, and it all shifts in 1 second. But just think about everything, the nature of everything is such that it doesn't even take 1 second to change from it is to it was. And how much of our spiritual energy are we dedicating to that which is so fast changing and that which is absolutely perishable? So we have to understand that this whole world that you see with the 2 eyes, it's an old world and it is disintegrating very fast. There is a disintegrating force, very huge force working in this world. And although we have to live in it until it totally disintegrates, we must understand that the nature of the world is such that everything that you're spending so much time, thought and energy on is going to be a thing of the past in another 1 second. And just think about something that is there, that stays for 20 years, 30 years, and you think about it so much, you spend so many thoughts and spiritual energy on it, you spend so much of your life on it, and then suddenly that thing is no more. And what did you do with all your spiritual energy? You just wasted it on something that was temporary. Yes, so all the attainments are temporary, all the obstacles are temporary. So even if something looks like it's a big obstacle and it's a big issue, and sometimes you feel I cannot stop thinking about it, but still you see that issue is going to end one day. And then what about all the time and thought and energy that you wasted on it until that day? And Baba says, don't forget, this is Sangam Yuga. This is the time to accumulate spiritual income. This is the time to remember Baba, and this is the time to fill ourselves, fill our aprons of the soul with all the gifts and treasures that Baba is giving. And how do we do that? By investing our spiritual energy in it. You do not accumulate anything without investing in it. So you have to invest your time, thought, energy in Baba's remembrance. And by doing that, we will be able to accumulate all the treasures that we need for the next whole cycle. But what happens is Maya keeps distracting us. Maya keeps distracting us into people, bodies, and events that are favorable to us, and into people, events, and bodies that are unfavorable to us. And we start getting caught up in all the perishables and we lose our focus. So, Baba tells us that while you're living in this world, know that it will take 1 second for something that is attracting your mind, or that is causing trouble to your mind, to change that one thing from it is to it was. It will take 1 second. But in that 1 second, after that, you will repent the whole investment, or you say wastage of spiritual energy you did on that for so long. And then you will repent that it is Sangam Yoga and I did not accumulate my spiritual income by doing what Baba asked me to do, but I wasted it by spending it on this stuff which is so perishable. So Baba says that talk to your mind that whatever you see with these two eyes is not going to be there tomorrow. So don't think about it. Even if it is pulling your mind too hard, just tell yourself, this is not that is going to stay with me in the end. What is going to stay with me in the end is me and my Baba. In the end, it will be you and Baba. And at that time, you will have to give an account of what you did and what you did not do according to Baba's Srimad. And in the end, we will have to submit our account. Baba, what did I do according to your Srimad and what I did not do? Because in the end, only that will matter. That account will matter. So this is why don't distract yourself. Don't lose your focus. And Baba says, keep your eye on this fact that in the end, only I and Baba will remain. And the only account that I'll take with me is the account that I created by listening to or not listening to Baba. And Baba says, keep your eye on your new world. So you see, we wander into the old world in search of happiness most of the time, right? And the world is like a mirage where everything gives you a promise that it'll make you happy. And you keep running after it until you discover that it has got nothing to offer. But you have already spent a lot of time, thought, energy, or body, mind, and wealth running after it until you discover it has got nothing to offer. So just like Baba gives the example of a deer who sees from a distance in a desert, and he sees that there is actually it's the sand which is shining in under the sun, but the deer thinks that that is water. And because he's tempted by the promise of water, it just starts running after it. And when it is completely exhausted and reaches that place, then the deer discovers this is not water. This is just sand which is shining under the sun. And this is called a mirage. And similarly, Baba says in the world also, everything is a mirage right now. So everything looks promising, sometimes your body will promise that it is going to give you a lot of pleasure. Sometimes relationships, sometimes some job, attainment. But Baba says that that's not something that's going to give you any happiness. So yes, you do it until you're here, because how do you pass your time? So you work, you take care of the family, all that is there. But then you also understand that you're not too tempted to fall into Ravan's trap. Yes, so you're not too tempted either, in by way of attraction or by way of repulsion, that you start doing something against Baba Srimad. So in those moments when you are so tempted to disregard Baba Srimad, you must remember that all this is temporary. It is not going to fulfill the promise that it is promising. And for happiness, what do? You remember your world of happiness. You remember the world that's going to come. And in that world, there is no trace of sorrow. Your bodies, your relationships, everything is going to be perfect in that world. It is a world of harmony, it is a world of beauty, and it is a world of fullness where everything is full inside and outside. And whenever your mind wants to be happy, you remember the world of happiness. Whenever your mind wants to be peaceful, you remember your sweet home. You don't go into the thoughts of this world and allow it to, create that illusion that it's going to give you happiness and peace. So this is something. So this is an exercise that Baba teaches, that watch your mind and then talk to your mind that where are you going, what are you looking for, and everything in this world is perishable. So don't look at anything as an obstacle, don't look at anything as a promise. Just know that it's there and it's not going to be there tomorrow. So don't think too much about it. Just spend your time remembering Baba and doing everything in the world according to Baba's Srimad. And whenever you want happiness, remember the world of happiness. So this is what Baba teaches. And then today Baba tells us that, you see, in this world, Baba says that we want to go to the new world. And Baba says, just like a surgeon gives you medicine when the body is ill, Baba is giving us this medicine that you remember me, and with this one medicine, you will go to a world where there is no untimely death, there is no disease. And Baba says, just remember me. And I will tell you one thing that Baba, that caught my attention in the Murli today. Baba says that you will go to a world of happiness when you conquer the 5 vices. Yes, when you conquer lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed. And in the world they say that the deities and the devils, they fought. But Baba says, you don't fight with the Ravan community. You fight with the Ravan inside. You don't fight with the Ravan community. What is the Ravan community? Ravan community is all those godly souls who are in the trap of Ravan right now. Yes, so Baba has taught us how to make a distinction between the soul and the sanskars. So Baba tells us that every soul is God's child, every soul is divine, but right now they are in the Ravan community and they are under the influence of vices, and they may be causing you a lot of trouble because they are under the influence of vices. But don't look at the troublemaker. Don't fight with the troublemaker, because that is just a soul who is not under their own control. Baba says that's a parvashatma. Yes, that's just a puppet in the hand of Ravan. So you don't fight with, or you don't create negative thoughts or negative feelings about the troublemaker. You understand that the trouble is created by Ravan. The trouble is the sanskar, the troublemaker is the vices. It's not the person. So you separate the person and the behavior, and you hate the vices. You don't hate the person under the influence of vices. And how do you hate the vices? So the simple, the simple expression of hate is you don't allow them in your life. So when you understand that a vice which is there in somebody else is causing you so much trouble, then you don't allow that vice in your life. You don't allow that vice to control you, and you win over that. And this is a very important point of focus to keep while we are on this journey of spirituality. Because I will tell you that we mostly get caught up in the troublemaker. Yes, and we start thinking that, this person is the troublemaker, and I want to do something against this person now, or I want to just, do something which makes this person to stop, or he's discouraged or she's discouraged from doing this again and again. But the thing is, don't make your life's purpose all about one person, because basically it's your own karmic account. And if you stop that person also, your karmic account will come back in some other way. So be wise enough to understand that it is between me and Baba, it is between my karmic account and my destiny, and I have to settle my karmic accounts by drawing Baba's power through remembrance and by imbibing divine virtues, and I have to settle my accounts and be free from this karmic account trap. And I do not have to focus my energy on the person who is just an instrument for bringing trouble, because my karmic account is causing that trouble. So you have to be free from this. And I will tell you one thing. So it's a very crude way of explaining, of course, these things are very subtle, but still you have very crude examples for it. So there was this one brother, and he said that my life's problem is my wife. And he said that ever since we got married, I have never had a moment of peace. And he said she is the troublemaker, she is the problem creator. And now, finally, I have managed to come to a place where she got angry, and I was able to make her so angry that she left the house. And she went back to her mother's place. And then he said, now I and my children are at peace, and now we are fine. So I said, okay. And then what happened is, after some days, his business started not doing well. And there were so many problems with his business. And then he said, Didi, what do I do about the business? Because it is causing a lot of trouble. So I said, I don't know, but because you don't listen to me, so you don't listen to Baba's teachings, you have your own method of settling things, right? So you settle them in that way. So what you do is, just like you forced your wife to leave the house, now push out your business, because that's your method. You drive away the troublemaker, right? So first your wife was the troublemaker, you drove her away. So now your business is the troublemaker. Why don't you drive it away? Leave the business. So he said, No, but that I can't do. That's my bread and butter. So I said, but it's causing you trouble. So how do you deal with that? So he said, I don't know, but what do you do in this situation? And then he asked me a very interesting question. He said, I don't know, but I have a feeling that because I ran away from that first situation with my wife, that is why that situation has changed and come like this. And now there is a different thing troubling me, but the trouble remains. So, is it some kind of spiritual law? And I told him, so Baba asks us not to decode, like this, ki you did this, so this happened, or that's not our process. So I said, because the way karma works is very complicated, and there are so many things that we do in one day, and think about how whatever we have done in 5,000 years. So we cannot pinpoint that this is happening because you did this or because that happened. But I said, but since you are feeling that, let me tell you one simple law of karma, that whatever is causing your trouble is not about the agent of trouble. It's about your karmic journey that has brought you to this place that you're meeting this agent. So, if you want to be out of trouble, what you do is you understand that it's not about that agent or that instrument, whether it is your business or their wife. It is about you and your karmic journey. And if you want to settle that, you don't focus your energy on removing the troublemaker. You focus on your energy on considering yourself a soul, remembering Baba, and following Baba's Srimad, embracing purity, embracing divinity, invoking divine virtues in all your actions. And when you start doing that, then your karmic account gets settled. And then slowly, all the things that were looking very difficult to you, or they were causing, negative feelings in you, they also start looking less problematic, and you also feel like you can deal with all of that. And then slowly they go away also. So Baba says that you don't fight with the Ravan community, you fight with the Ravan within. And if you waste your time fighting with the Ravan community, if you waste your spiritual energy or your physical resources fighting with the Ravan community, then you must understand that Ravan has already deceived you, and that you are actually doing what Ravan wants from you. Waste your Sangam Yugi time, thought and energy, and not do the work that you're here to do in Sangam Yuga. So Baba says that never forget, now you children are in Sangam Yuga. And what is Sangam Yuga? This Sangam Yuga is the only time in the whole cycle where you have the opportunity to create and accumulate karmic credit. And how do you create good karma? Whenever you do, whatever you do on Baba's Srimad. So, sometimes in the world, karmic theory is very difficult to understand. So, let's say in the world, you donate something. You think that is good karma, but the person you donate it to is taking drugs from your donation, and they are wasting your money. So actually you are thinking that you did a punya karma, but that's going to be accumulated in your pap karma. Yes, so sometimes in the world it's very difficult to figure out whether what you did is punya karma or pap karma. Let's say, there is a situation where your child is seeking permission from you to do something which is not going to benefit the child. So let's say the child is asking you, can I have fast food from the street? And then you allow the child, or the child is asking you, or begging, pleading and blaming you, or they are even intimidating you that give me the fancy mobile which is there on the market and the new version of it. And then you think that you are applying spiritual power, and you're not, you are not, you're not obstructing the child, and you say okay, and you give the money to the child, and you think that you're following Baba's Srimat and you're being nice and good and peaceful, but that's not the way, because you just spent your money, and that money, the karma that you created, is the karma of buying a gadget which is going to be the doorway for all the vices for your child. So the theory of karma has to be understood in great detail. So let's understand very simple things. Baba says the best karma is when you just sit and think that you are a soul and remember me. And although it might look like you're doing nothing, but Baba says in this one process you're finishing all your karmic burden, and you're accumulating virtues and powers and knowledge from me. And I remember when I came into Gyan, at that time Santoshji I used to see that he gets up in the morning and he just sits in silence and he remembers Baba. And I was not in Gyan at that time, and I used to be very annoyed at him. And I used to tell him, you are young and you're dynamic and you should contribute to the world, you should make a difference by running around, and you should, you should build a school, you should build a hospital, you should do some charity work, should bring benefit to the poor and to the needy. And what are you doing? Sitting and meditating. What good is it going to do to the world? And then he said, I cannot explain anything to you. If you're really interested, go and ask the people who will give you an answer. So you go to the center, and if you're not interested, just leave me alone. So I used to be very, very karam conscious at that time. And I used to think that whatever you do by running around is the only thing that can make you do good karma. But slowly, gradually, when I came into Gyan, I realized that karmic theory is very complicated, and you have to really understand it deeply. So Baba says sometimes you may feel that you did a lot of things, but whatever you didn't actually add to your good karma. On the contrary, you gave it to souls who are engaged in vices, which is almost everybody in the world. And when you gave it to those souls, you added to their resource to do pap karma, and they become powerful vicious souls now. So you are actually becoming party to their pap karma. But when you sit in silence and you remember Baba, you are gaining spiritual power, that is good karma. Whenever you embrace purity, you are cleansing your vibration, whether it is purity of food, whether it is purity of the body by way of celibacy, whether it is purity of what you hear and what you see, whether it is purity of the mind, or whether it is purity of wealth. Whenever you embrace purity, you are contributing to the purity of the world. And Baba says that is punya karma, although it may look like, a very personal day-to-day choice. But in that day-to-day choice also, when you're choosing purity, that's punya karma. And Baba says, when you're giving knowledge to a soul, when you're bringing them to the awareness of their own spiritual power, that is absolutely punya karma. So when somebody is feeling low because they are trapped in the body, so everybody these days, we live on the surface of our skin, right? So my skin is dark, or I look this way, or I look that way, or I'm old, or I don't have resources. If somebody is in that consciousness, and if you can just bring them to the awareness of their worthy self, their powerful, their virtuous, their full self, that's punya karma. If you could remind a soul that you are a child of God, and by virtue of being a child of God, you're not ordinary, you are the master ocean of peace, ocean of joy, ocean of bliss, ocean of power, ocean of love. So when you remind a soul about their own spiritual identity, that is punya karma. And then Baba says, whenever you contribute to Baba's seva, so this task that Baba has taken up of creating a new world, when you do that, that is punya karma. When you see a soul with soul conscious vision, that is punya karma. So Baba says that you have to understand the intricacies of punya karma, and whenever you see your mind is fixated with the troublemaker, yes, so although you have 101 reasons to think negative about that one person, but when you do that, you are creating pap karma. And instead of accumulating your karmic account in a positive way, you are depleting yourself by incurring negative karmic account. Because according to the law of karma, it is not that somebody causes you trouble and you think negative about them, then they're causing trouble and your thinking negative cancels out. No. Whatever they are doing gets accumulated in their karmic book, but whatever you are doing in response gets accumulated in your karmic book. So Baba says, don't get caught up in the troublemaker. Understand that the troublemaker is just an instrument. The problem is that we have performed so many actions under Ravan's influence that we have incurred a karmic account which is negative, and now if I want to settle that, then I have to do everything on Baba's Srimad and create a positive karmic account for myself, and then these instruments will stop troubling me. So this is what Baba asks us to understand. And then Baba today tells us that there is no book in which Baba's whole of Baba's knowledge can be written. And the only way to understand Baba's knowledge is by listening to the Murli daily. Because Baba gives daily dose of knowledge. Yes. So have you heard the story of the golden goose and the goose that laid golden eggs? Have you heard that? So there was a I don't know whether it's a goose or a geese, but then they laid eggs and it was a golden egg every day. And then it was every day a person observed that this geese lays golden eggs. Yes, so then what the person thought is, there are so many eggs inside it, so let me just cut it to pieces and then I'll take out all the eggs. And they killed the geese. So Baba says that you can't do that with my knowledge. You can't have it all in one book. You have to take one piece every day. That's how it goes. And there is no shortcut. There is no comprehensive material that you just read it for once and gain all the knowledge. No. Because Baba says, even to understand Baba's knowledge, you need a pure intellect. And when drop by drop, every day, the Murli starts sitting in your buddhi, then the intellect also becomes receptive. And then it imbibes the further drops of knowledge that Baba is giving you every day. So there is no shortcut to being knowledgeful. Every day one has to study the Murli. Every day one has to take one step of Srimad, and slowly, gradually, you become like Baba, like Like Baba means the master ocean of knowledge, the master ocean of peace. Okay, Om Shanti.